Okay, perfect. Right, so lesson number 8. Okay, so today we're going to be doing our tennis skills or bat and ball skills, all right? So most of you, I expect, will have a tennis racket, so you will need something that you can hit with. If you don't have a tennis racket, anything you can hold two-handed or one-handed and use to hit something with. Obviously with tennis, I have tennis balls, but if you don't have tennis balls, then any form of smaller ball. Now we're going to use a football, not tennis, but we're going to use it for a different way. Okay, we're going to use it in our session, so get a bigger ball, and then I'm using some cones because we're going to have some targets and markers. And last but not least, you must have some water with you, especially when it's like this outside, all right? So all that stuff you need, once you've got all of that, come back and we'll go from there. 4, 3, 2.
So now you should have all your equipment ready. So straight away, I've set myself up and had a little cheat because I got myself ready. But we've got 4 cones in a line. So I'm going to give you 10 seconds to set yourselves up. I'm going to have some water whilst I'm waiting. So you've got 10 seconds. There's some high quality H2O. So now we've got all our stuff ready. We're going to first of all use the football, and we're going to use our tennis racket as well. Before we start anything, I want us to learn about the tennis racket. So this is called the handle, what we're going to always be holding on to. Okay? Because we're being safe, make sure when you move it around you're not hitting anyone or hitting anything. So please make sure you're not hitting siblings or any furniture. Move it if you can. So first thing I wanted you to try and do is just move the bat or racket around the back of you, just using the handle only. So you see where the tape is? You're just going to use that to pass it around your back. Just practice that. Try not to let go. Have a firm grip so you're never losing control of the handle. Okay, so you always got it. Now switch which way you're going. Perfect. Now you can get a little bit quicker and quicker. Try not to lose it. Always using the handle. Because in tennis, we never hold the racket up here because you have less control. Okay, and you can't get as much whip on your shots. So you want to hold the tennis racket low. So next one we're going to do is a bit trickier. You're just going to pass through your legs. Okay, always using the tape and the handle. Get to know the tennis racket we're passing around. There we go. Perfect. Sometimes you might dink the floor, but it's okay. Good. Now your next challenge. Can you try and spin the racket on the grass and catch it? Okay, so spin and catch. Spin, catch. Can you try different ways? Okay? Just getting to know the tennis racket. It's alright if it falls, keep trying. There, nearly. Now, we're going to move on to the new part. We've now got our football, we've got our tennis racket. We're just going to try and dribble the ball in and out of the cones using the racket. Okay? Using one hand. See? Always holding the tape, nothing else. I'm going to go through the... We might now swap hands. What's going to be harder because your other hand's probably weaker. I'm going to go all the way around through. Perfect. We'll go around twice. Woo. Go around. Great technique. Nice. Now, a bit tricky. I'm going to use 2 hands. I'm going to try. And straight away you can see I'm not just using one side of the racket, I'm using both sides. So I might use the left bit, then I might use the other side. And we go through. So ready? Use the left hand side, the right, left, right. Ready? Keep going around. Perfect. Freeze there. Now, go and find one of your tennis balls. We're going to try now with one of the tennis balls. Which one do I want to use today? We're going to go for the cleanest one. So let's go with our right hand. It's going to be harder now because the ball is smaller. So little taps with the ball. Try and go around the cones. Nice, small taps. Don't want to lose control of the ball. Nice. Woo. Good. Nice, good. Can you now try with your left hand? Do 2 on each hand. So here, go use my left. Ooh. Using both sides of the racket. Ooh. Good. trying to get out the divot. Try not touch any of the cones. Perfect. And freeze there. That's going to be a little bit for the warm-up. Okay. Now, keep the cones where they are. We're going to move on. Make sure we have every equipment near each other. Always grab yourself some water after we finish some stuff. Pause now if you want a little break, or push ready when you're ready.
Right, now, okay, on to our racket skills. Make sure you've had some water, especially after the warm-up. All right, now, racket skills. So today we're going to learn about kind of keeping the ball in the racket, keeping it controlled, bouncing it, and then the lesson after we'll be doing a bit more hitting stuff. All right, so just to begin with, when you're holding your racket, always hold it on the handle. Okay, so you should have kind of tape around it, so always hold it wherever you feel comfortable, but on the handle. And then always you want your racket straight, especially when we're bouncing it up and down. Even when you're playing tennis, your racket's still straight like that, isn't it? Because if you go like that, it's going to go into the floor like that, a bit too high. All right, so keep it straight, and we always want the ball to land in the middle of our racket so it gets the best contact possible. All right, so just to begin with, all I want you to do is you're going to flick the ball up and you're going to try and land it on the racket. So flick it up and then land it on the racket. Now the less bounces it has when it hits the racket, the best control you've got. Okay, so like, so up and then try and control it. And if you're watching me, okay, watch how I move the racket slightly down as it hits it. That way it takes force from the ball, okay, and it makes it a lot of a softer landing. All right, if I obviously move my racket towards the ball, look, it's going to go back up. All right, so bring it down and then you get it controlled. So flick up and down, flick up, down. Try and keep it controlled. Try and catch it. Brilliant. I say, let's see if you can get a point every time you catch it. But if it falls off, you've got to start from 0 again. All right. So it might be like I go 1 point because it's still on, 2 points. Okay, 3 points, and so on. Okay. If you're finding it really easy, try and flick the ball higher, and it might be that you go even higher, and it might be a bit hard. Or if you're finding it too hard, it might be that you use your hand just to throw it on like this. So it's a little bit easier, and then obviously you can work up so it gets a little bit harder every time. So can you flick and land? Now the sun's in my eyes, so it's making it a bit hard for me. But look, so you flick up and try and land. Look, flick up, try and land it. Okay, flick up, try and land it. Okay, brilliant. Right, first bit done. Now, next bit. Okay, so now we're going to learn to bounce the ball a bit more. All right, so I want to see now if you can try and bounce the ball up and down as many times as you can. Now, when I'm doing this, the ball is always going to hit the middle of the racket, because if it hits the side, it's likely to go towards the way where it hit, so it will go off. So make sure that you either start by dropping it or just throw it into the middle of the racket. Now I'm not going mad with my bat and smacking it up like this, yeah, because I want to keep the ball controlled. I'm just doing light little movement with my arm. If you watch, look, it's just going up and down, and as the ball's about to hit my racket, I just bring it up a little bit. Okay, that way it's really controlled. All right, so it should be, if you can do that, it should be really straightforward. Now to make it harder, it might be that you try and hit it a little higher, like this. Okay, might be a bit higher. And if you're finding it really hard, it might be that you try and do little ones, or you might go stop, flick. You might go stop, flick, and try and bounce it a bit. But let's see if you can get at least to this level here, okay, where you're just going back and forth, up and down. All right, pretty good. Okay, so keep going, keep going, keep going, and catch. Okay, perfect. Right, next bit. I'm gonna make it a little bit harder. All right, I want to see now if any of you can do this. All right, so who can do this? Who can bounce it? And then you're gonna flick and switch your racket the other way and try and catch it. So watch me, look, it starts off this way, and when I feel I can do it, I'm gonna hit it up, switch my racket, and then try and catch it on the other side. So I'm moving my hand around. So look, it's going like this, flick up, twist your racket, and then try and keep it going, okay? Quite hard. If you're finding it difficult, that's fine. This is going to be difficult, okay? I'm struggling a little bit. So look, flick up, change, and then try and keep it going, okay? Keep going, keep going, keep going. All right, so ready? One more go. Who can do it? Ready? So up, switch, and then keep it going. Perfect. Yeah? Brilliant. Keep trying with that. This is something you can try after as well, okay? Because the more times you get it, the better you'll be at it, okay? And the better you'll be at when we go into our hitting, because you can connect with the ball, okay? Perfect. Right. Moving on. Now, I've set up a square, okay? And I've also got my code over here where I'm going to start from. Now, if you've only got one ball, you can go back to it every time and use it, or I'm going to use 3. So we're going to play a game, okay, where we've got to try and get our balls into our basket. So egg and basket, we're going to call it. This is our egg and basket race. All right. So watch this. Look. So these are my 3 eggs. All right, and I've got to try and deliver them to my basket. Okay. So I'm going to start here. And I've got to start like this. Now, this, very, very easy. We can all do that now, okay, in reception in year 1. So I want to see now if we can try and bounce the ball, okay, get it into our square. You're going to stop it on the racket, and then you're going to deliver it down there to our basket. Then I'm going to go back. Or if you've only got one ball, bring that ball back, okay? But I've got another one here, so I'm going to start here, okay? I'm going to throw it up. I'm going to try and bounce it. Okay, we're going to keep going. See if I can keep it controlled. Now remember, if it goes off to the side, try and catch it. But if it goes on the floor, doesn't matter. Pick it up, go back to the start, and then see if you can go back. Okay, so bouncing it up and down, and then can you stop it and deliver it into our basket? And we go back again. I've got one more ball to go. All right, so look, I throw it up. I try and get it bouncing. Brilliant, it's bouncing now. Okay, if you're finding it really easy, it might be that you switch hands, or it might be that you try and do our skills that we were doing earlier, our switches, all right? And then we're gonna try and deliver that last one, okay? Now, one more go at that. The challenge is you want as many bounces as possible, okay? So I wanna see who can have the most bounces going up to the basket instead of just big ones like this, yeah? I want to see who can keep the ball controlled. Remember, when you get it there, drop it off, go back, throw it up, and then big like this. Who can do nice bounces, okay? And deliver, and then so on. Last one, okay, pick it up, and there we go. Brilliant. Okay, now, after this, when the lesson's finished, I want you to do that, but I want you to time yourself. I want to see how many times can you deliver the eggs in 1 minute, for example. All right? Now, last bit before we move on, okay, to our questions. We've now got some cones. Now, to make it harder, can you try and go in and out of the cones, bouncing the ball? Okay, then delivering, and then going in and out all the way back. So look, I throw up, I try and get it bouncing, I go in and out. Who can go a bit quicker? Go in and out, in and out, in and out, trap it, go down, and then can you go in and out your cones? Last go. Okay, ready? And keep it cool, keep it going. Remember, center of the racket, okay, keep it controlled, okay, keep it going, trap, and then all the way back to the start, okay? One more go, last go, okay? So remember, this time I'm going to make it harder for those that can. Okay, ready? So look, it might be that you try and do a switch every time you go through for the ones that are finding it too easy. If not, doesn't matter. You might just do the normal way. Okay, but it's just an idea. Might be that you use your other hand that you don't normally use. So I'm now using my left. Okay, last go. Okay, in and out the cones. All right, I might do just a normal one to end. Okay, but remember, keep the ball controlled, try and get it into your basket, in and out back. Okay, now, perfect. Well done. Now we're getting on to our questions. So you should have your pen and paper ready now, and I'll see you in a minute.
3.
Okay, right, brilliant, you guys. So remember, pen and paper ready. If you don't have it, you know, go and get it now. Press pause because we're going to carry on. Okay. Question number 1 is, when we play tennis or use a racket, where do we want to hold our racket? Okay. You want to hold it up here? All right. Where do we want to hold it? Okay. Second question is, where do we want the ball to land when it hits our racket? Okay. And it might be that you say why. So where do we want it to land and why? All right. Okay. Last one is a bit of a challenge, like we have done previously, is I want you to give that game a go, with or without the cones to go in and out, whatever you want to do, with your carer or parent. Show them the game, and then you might time yourselves each and try and beat them. All right. But really, really good. Okay. So session 9 will be next. Okay. And that's when we do some hitting. All right. Brilliant.